Hi, I'm Alan Ross, and we are at DistribuTech 2025. We've got interviews with thought leaders, and we'd love for you to see what we've done here. Hey, thanks for joining us. Kelly, how are you doing?
I'm good, Alan. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
DistribuTech 2025, we're at the G&W. Unbelievably impressive booth, I got to tell you.
Thank you.
And what I want you to do, what are all these lines for again? You got all these, is that like showing something?
Yes, this represents our power grid automation and how the schemes work for our utilities to be able to isolate faults or identify faults, isolate them, and then restore power back to the grid.
Okay, that's not the normal G&W story. Okay, so you need to tell me all about that. But start me with just a little course in G&W, your history, because we want to talk about from where you went to where you are to where you're going. Yeah. All right, excellent right here. So talk about the history.
Yeah, so G&W Electric, we're a 120-year-old company based out of Chicago, Illinois.
Was there even electric back then? I mean, did they?
Yeah, we actually were started from two engineers from ComEd.
Okay.
And they developed the disconnectable pothead, and that was really where we started. And then we grew and we started to manufacture medium voltage and high voltage cable accessories, which is what you can kind of see in the front corner over there with the big tall termination.
Yeah, I wondered what that was. So if we can.
Yeah. So this is, your undergrounding cable here. And that was really where we started to kind of enhance and elevate what products that were in our portfolio. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we moved into more of the underground switchgear, which we can take a look at, especially our submersible switchgear. And then we have expanded into reclosers, so overhead technology. So we do load break switches, but the reclosers really took off for us. And so that is a very, very great success story for us that one of my colleagues will talk us through that.
And that's Ron.
Waiting
in the wings. Ron, how are you doing?
Excellent.
So you're going to talk about, because that's what I think of when I think of G&W is reclosers.
Absolutely.
You guys make the best. They don't fail. You probably have some that are 120 years old. We have transformers that are over 100 years old, still operating in the market today, still being tested annually.
Absolutely, one of the biggest benefits of the equipment is the longevity of them. That's right. How long they last. Yeah.
So Ron, walk me through what you've got here, because this is different than the typical recloser.
It is, and it demonstrates the story of how we've had a customer journey in the industry of solving the specific problems that this industry is facing in unique and creative ways. And that ability to customize and create flexible solutions is one of the things that have made G&W such a success in the industry. And if you look at a recloser, typically you have this module, and then you have it on a frame.
Right.
These things are not a part of the recloser. So we're going to talk about the recloser a little bit. Mention about reclosers. We've been building these for over 20 years. We started in the early 2000s shipping the Viper recloser.
All right.
We have hundreds of thousands of these in the field, and they're still performing reliably today after decades of disconnecting service and reconnecting automatic service, keeping the lights on our customers. And we're excited here because we actually releasing a new version of our recloser that actually has higher ratings. One of the things that's happening in the industry is current densities are growing because we're having an insatiable appetite for electrical energy. It actually powers our entire way of life.
Right.
So when we talk about keeping the lights on, we take this very seriously. So we took everything we knew about reclosers from 20 years of experience and tremendous stories with our customers, going through all sorts of challenging weather events and you name it in the grid. And we took that and we said, let's build that engineering technology. Let's take the latest capabilities of computer simulations, all of the knowledge we've gathered through all of these years, and let's build a robust recloser that can meet even further challenges in the grid. So we beefed up the internals of this design using that latest technology. We've introduced now a 38 kV product, which is about the highest regular voltage class in distribution. That also goes up to now 16 kA.
Okay.
This particular product even has additional margins, so we could even go a little bit higher for some of the systems that might be just a little over 38, where it's like maybe 40 kV. They're pushing voltages up to get more density, right? So we've beefed up a design. We, of course, have many different options for controllers and different relays that we can couple with this switching solution to be able to enable advanced capabilities for finding where the fault is, restoring the power quickly, taking care of the customers. Because, we service a lot of critical loads as well throughout the industry. And when you're talking about a hospital or a military base or some other type of a critical infrastructure load, it's important it work and it work all the time and it work properly. And that's built into the solution. Now, one of the things that we've seen as the industry evolves and it's getting more and more complex is we need to find how can we leverage our design. This particular design is unique in the industry, which I think is one of the reasons it's been so successful. In that this is a dead front type of a module here. So this is a ground potential. And what that ground potential allows us to do is it allows us to package things more compactly, and it allows us to package things in a way that are unique in the industry. And we've leveraged that flexibility by building up our engineering teams, having flexible ways to deploy the equipment.
Right.
Because it's not just about what it does, it's about how can our customers use it and make life easy for them when they're out there putting it in.
Right.
So we develop flexible solutions that meet exactly the need that they have as they're trying to deploy it. And as we talk to customers, because that's where we get our best idea.
Right. You get their problems, or you can come up with solutions. Right.
Exactly. As we talked to them, they said, we want to find ways to build more capabilities into the equipment we put out, so I don't have to install 3 poles, for example, or 2 poles, and I can package things so when I go to deploy it, it's site ready. So most of the things we build are solutions to solve unique problems and bring those together and be able to deploy it in a site-ready way that's plug and play, by example. So this is an example of where we said we had customers that are saying we have specific sites, like maybe it's a large industrial, maybe it's a renewable point where they're connecting this big solar farm into the utility grid. We call that like a point of common coupling where the two come together. They said, can you take that flexibility of that Viper, that switch, and they're using it in some cases as a switch, some cases a recloser. Can you take that flexibility and can you take these different application needs that I have and can you bundle it all together? And that's exactly what we did here. So this is a switch with power quality monitoring, because power quality is becoming incredibly important, and measurement of the energy flow using revenue grade measurement technology. So we have here a switch. This is a high accuracy extended range current transformer, which is the latest state of the art and external type CT that can measure from 1% of rated all the way up through the full current range. And so you think about a solar farm, power up, power down. This is an example of one of those unique characteristics. So we partner with different vendors in the industry that have this type of technology. It's a part of that collaboration as well.
You said something, power quality, because one of the big problems with wind, solar, and all the DERs, we're going from DC to AC, creates enormous harmonics, enormous transients, and everybody's saying one of the big problems, besides load growth, is we got power quality, and customers are saying, I can't get dirty power. Talk about what this does for power quality. Measures power quality?
Well, this is measuring the energy flow, but we also put high accuracy sensors. Now, these are actually revenue grade, but we use a capacitive type sensor technology, and an advantage of that gives us very high frequency range. So we can go very high because you get a lot of really weird frequencies. We can go higher frequency, we can go lower frequency, we can take the whole full spectrum. So we put these on here, and we can measure voltage with this, but we can also see what's happening with the voltage waveform. And where's that power quality? And because we bundle solutions, not just the hardware, but we take the controllers and the meters, and we package all of this together. If you look in the cabinet over here, we actually have in this cabinet many different types of options. You can see we have a cabinet that's very flexible designed. We put these together. This is an example of the controller that does the switching. That's where the switching and the reclosing type operation occurs. But we've put a power quality meter blended right in.
That is so cool.
And we have flexibility. This is an example of an energy meter. So this is measuring the energy that's flowing through the instrument transformer, so they know which way, how much energy is being used at this site, how much is being connected back to the grid. And this is very important for load. It's very important for billing and settlement of the transaction if you have a non-regulated entity and a regulated entity. Very important. and we can put this meter, we can put a meter there in the cabinet, whatever the customer needs. It's about meeting our customers right where they are.
Like building a Mercedes Maybach, which is custom rather than a Mercedes that goes on. It's still a Mercedes, but it's the next level of a Mercedes. And you can get it to the customer quickly, too.
Absolutely. Our lead times are right there with the best in the industry. And, of course, we have a lot of manufacturing flexibility as well. So we have built our entire organizational structure, manufacturing, front-end processing, right through shipment, so that we can, as we build custom solutions and have all of this flexibility, we can also have a seamless experience end-to-end for that customer.
So this is not your grandfather's recloser.
Not your grandfather's recloser. To my knowledge, there's no one doing this today. And again, it came because our customers said, I need to bundle things because when I go to put it in the field, I have a lot of operational cost associated with getting that deployed.
Yeah.
And I have only so many crews. You know, if you look in the industry, you face many challenges.
Yeah.
One of these is the amount of people to do all the work. There's so much to be done.
Well, let's get back to Kelly, because this is incredible. And you're moving into the automation, because that's the word I keep hearing. Automation. Make it simple. Automate everything so that I'm talking about the utility. I don't have to have people sitting there all the time deciding what to do. You're helping me create the outcomes I need.
Outcomes, exactly.
Okay. So let's meet up with Kelly again, and we're going to go talk about some other things. And you're out. We're coming over here. Okay. Automation.
Yes.
Kelly, start again. This is incredible because this is not your grandfather's recloser. It's amazing what you're doing, because one of the things I can tell you, the industry keeps saying, I'm not here to buy something. I have a problem. Solve my problem. Ron, that was what you were talking about over here. But all of this is that solution for your customers, your ability to do that, right? I understand there's a secret place that we're going to go to later where customers can come in there and tell their problems to you and you do some solutions. Let's just see if I get to go in the secret room, okay? Kelly, automation, talk about it.
Yeah. So as I had mentioned earlier, so all of our reclosers, our load break switches, our underground switches, they are all capable of integrating with our power grid automation software.
Okay.
And I think we talked a little bit earlier about, just everyone's talking about the load, the demand, everything that's growing, but there's still a lot of concern about resiliency and reliability on our grid and making sure that we're able to eliminate or at least decrease the amount of impact that that the users on the grid are experiencing. And so that's really what you see here. We have our automation software set up with each of these pieces of equipment in here to demonstrate an actual grid and to show when there's a fault on the line where we can isolate that fault. We can actually open or close, try to get rid of the fault. If we can't, we can keep the one part of it closed and pull source from other parts of the grid to make sure that there's the least amount of people that are impacted by the fault on that line.
You know what? I get it now. Now I know why all these lines are here, because you're simulating the power lines, and that's where all the faults are.
Correct.
Excellent. It takes a little while, but that's excellent. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Anything you'd like to add, Ron, in regards to how it works with our solution?
I think that's a good point. One thing I would say is when we approach a customer or a customer approaches us, and usually it's the customer approaches us, we look at things holistically. We look at what are the challenges trying to solve, and it might actually involve many different pieces of equipment for us to help them solve that in the most efficient, effective way possibly. Because we understand they have resource constraints, they have personnel, financial, time constraints become a big issue as well. And so we look at it holistically, and that's why we tie things together. And this is a particularly important point, not just for large utilities, but even some of the smaller utilities are coming to us saying, we need to automate our feeders. Where do we even start?
Yeah, right.
We can take their hand because we've been doing everything from the original pod heads to the pad mount gear to the overhead gear, many different types of gear to the automation software. We understand end to end, and we get in that consultative mode with them. We say, let us help you solve your challenge. And that's a key piece of where this automation comes in. We understand everything about it. As you would see in the movie, sometimes soup to nuts, right? Full meal. We can help you with that.
One of the things that's happening, and I think it's going to be, I've asked a lot of people, what is the next leap? Because this industry is moving faster than it has in 1 year is what 10 years used to be, right? and it's creating more problems. And everybody knows that we've got to have a huge load growth. We've got to have a clean power delivery. But now we're starting to get more distributed. The smaller utilities, you're going to start to see a lot more grids that are running big industrial plants, because they can't depend on. They're basically their own small utility, right?
Absolutely.
They'll have a solar farm there. They'll have a wind farm. That's going to create all kinds of problems. And you know what they're not in? They're not in this business. They make things, right? They run data centers.
Right.
And you hear more and more, it's like, I don't want to be a utility, but you're asking me to be one because my utility is saying, you can't depend on me to give you power 24/7 because I got a city of Atlanta to run.
Absolutely.
North Atlanta data centers, you're important, but I'm sorry, you're not first, right? They're going to lean more and more. I met somebody that we're not allowed to announce it now, but they're basically going to run the next big chip factory with their own microgrid. They're saying, hey, we got to put it there. Yes, they can take power in, but they're going to come to somebody and say, help me automate this whole thing. I don't know how to do it. Is that you guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a unique opportunity, I think, with the history of us being around for 120 years and learning through those decades and understanding that we have the automation to tie into all of that. But when you're looking at some of the, as you're talking about with the microgrids, one of the other things that G&W Electric did was we built our own microgrid. So on our headquarters campus,
Love it. You're ahead.
in Bolingbrook, Illinois, we a state-of-the-art microgrid. So we also have experience in how that's done, right? Yeah. And it's not just about the microgrid. It was an opportunity for us to bring our equipment into that microgrid and connecting it from the microgrid to the actual grid with our local utilities. And so that gives us a unique opportunity to be able to, from that consultative approach with those customers, and especially when you think on the commercial and industrial side that you're talking about, they don't have that experience. So they really need a partner who does have that experience and can work with them from a collaborative approach. And so that's an exciting area.
Then that chip manufacturer who said you're not allowed to announce it, and they're in negotiations with their utility, and the utility is saying, go for it. We'll be there. We'll get you power. But we can't support what you're trying to do. They just don't have the generation. And that's not been a problem here for a while. Now we're already saying, we need to focus on generation transmission. We don't do distribution. That's the bigger utilities. That means somebody's got to help them, right? So excellent. That's as I see it all now, I understand it. I want my own microgrid. That's excellent.
Well, and another shift from that, and thinking about the change in kind of the direction with the loads and higher ratings, I'd like Ron to actually talk a little bit about the Viper HV, which is first in the world, and currently we're the only ones who do it. So maybe Ron could talk a little bit about that technology as well.
Well, it's a Viper. I like that.
It is a Viper. So, and it's interesting, and we can see this one over here, this particular product in the background here. So what happens? So we have many different utilities in the industry. And if you think about how many customers are on, say, a distribution feeder, those are, it's in the thousands of customers. Right. But we had a customer, and they've been using our Viper technology for many years. It's been working flawlessly for them. And they came to us and they said, this reclosing and this automation where I can automate and sectionalize and minimize the amount of customers that go out, maybe a quick flicker of lights, and many customers are back in power. They said, isn't there a way that this particular type of technology, since you're doing such an amazing job for us, helping us get this working and it's actually working, can you make that work and do this automation at a higher voltage level? Because if you think about it, many more customers, the higher the voltage, many more customers, and so the impact is much greater. And we said, this sounds like a challenge. And particularly, they didn't want just the mechanical switches, and they didn't want to put any more SF6 type gas inside switches up in the air. And they said, well, solid dielectric. And solid dielectric is one of the magic things that we got into 2 decades ago, which doesn't require gas. It's fully insulated type materials. And so you're insulated from weather. You've got the dielectric strength there. It's a very clean solution. Can you take that and take the voltage up? And we said, well, we love a challenge, right?
Where did you take them into the secret room that I'm going to try to sneak into later? But that's exactly what you're talking about. Bringing them in, finding and they said, here's the outcome we want. And you...
Exactly. And they said, here's what we need to do. And so we said, let's face the challenge. And so we took the technology we've been doing in 15 through 38 kV, and we took it up to 72 kV. Okay. Now in the U.S. they say 69 kV, but internationally 72 because this is an international product certified to global standards as well as domestic. And we said, let's do that. And so we built a product that actually is a recloser. Now, there was no 72 kV recloser. The standards today don't even go there. They don't even go that high. So we created something that was unique. And actually, we didn't even realize how popular this particular product would be.
Yeah.
Now, the utility has these installed. They've been operating flawlessly, actually keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
And as we started to look at it, so we're deploying these all over the world. And this particular technology can act exactly like a medium voltage recloser. It can be used as a switch. This is being used in solar farm connecting point, like in some countries. It's being used on transmission lines to sectionalize and automatically restore the lights. Right. And it's even being used in some cases. They may need to put a line out and they need to be able to sectionalize. They might have to put a breaker on the ground and build a pad and secure real estate and all of this. They no longer have to do any of that. They can take it and pop it on an existing transmission pole and avoid all of those costs.
That's amazing.
They may cut their cost in half or in a third or maybe even more from having to do that legacy type of a solution. And they don't have any of the challenges with lead times to secure that. It might take 3 years to secure land, permitting, equipment, and to put out, say, a switching station on a transmission line.
Right.
We can cut that back to a half a year or maybe a year at most. And so you save 3 times the time, you save 3 times the money, you cut the personnel requirements, and you have a solution that brings much greater functionality. And as with the Viper, which has been out there for decades, still operating and going strong, same type of technology.
That's superb. I got to imagine this is pretty big with the Department of Defense. And the reason I say that is when you have an Air Force base or you have an Army base, right? They don't make their own power. They take the power, but they cannot have outages. And they get the same storms, the same problems, and we're going to talk about resilience in a bit, but they get all the same things. And it's the same thing. Can you get the power back on? It's a little kind of like a hospital. They got to get, because they probably usually have a clinic or a hospital on base there. I got to believe that the Department of Defense is looking at this, and if you can't tell me, that's all right, because they went into the secret room and figured some stuff out. But the applications are just mind-boggling. It's not just for DER and out there. It's got to be mind-boggling. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, that century-plus experience that we've had, holding hands with our customers through that customer journey, and facing all of these challenges, just like this challenge. Has enabled us with this knowledge of how to bring this to bear. So,
can you retrofit existing applications? Because you give a couple that are like, hey, we can get it to new construction, permitting, and all that. Can you retrofit this into an existing system?
Absolutely.
Okay.
One quick example: we engaged with a particular company that was working to put a substation. They're needing to bring a new line in, a 69 kV line, expand in this particular substation. And they were having a timeline challenge. And I was at a conference, and the gentlemen were standing with me, and we were explaining how this works. And he says, I really need something quickly. I don't have any real estate. I can't expand my substation. I can't fit anything in the substation. I need to bring a line in. I've got to have a way to switch that line. Do you have anything to help me? And I said, it's right here.
That's excellent.
And we went through it, and he was ecstatic because it solved his challenges in a unique way. He did not even know it existed, but trust me, he knows how. And see, loving it.
What you said about they were bringing in a 69 kV line, that is happening all over the place because people are using existing. It takes a long time to get permitting, to buy and to do anything. So the permitting process has become one of the boom. And if you can, even if you're trying to go outside of the fence and just add to it, you're going to go through county, you're going to go through state, you're going to go through federal. And if you can say, no, I am not needing any more space. I do not need special permitting. It's got to be blown out of the factory. This is excellent.
It's excellent indeed.
I know we're very excited because I get to hear all the problems that people are having, all the futuristic. I get to people talk about the future. You guys are at the future today, so it's crazy. Now, you mentioned it, and you've mentioned it, resilience. Reliability, because I'm a reliability engineer. Reliability is keeping things running. We went from maintenance to reliability. And resilience is, oh darn, hurricane came in, storms came in, fire came in. Hey, it's out. We gotta take our cabling underground. Everybody's talking about it, not just California. So let's talk about your solution that kind of impacts resilience. You kind of mentioned it. Let's talk about that next. When I first walked up here yesterday, all of my team, we came here and we were mesmerized by this. And they said, what is this? And I said, well, whatever it is, it's underground. Yeah. Okay. And underground is water. It's just in cities, it's already there. But when the Houston floods came from the last Houston thing, they were underground literally for weeks. You got components underground that were never designed to go underground. So talk to me about this from the resiliency factor.
Yeah, so we've covered a lot on the overhead, right? So taking a step to the underground, we've been doing this for decades too. And we offer solutions that are pad mount solutions and then also vault application solutions, which is what you would see here.
Right.
And really what we're seeing is a shift in the mindset with a number of different utilities of realizing that, especially depending on the situation, where they located, what's the weather impacts that are happening within that region, that there might be better opportunity to start undergrounding the lines in certain areas to allow for better resiliency on the grid. Right. And we provide a solution that is submersible. And what you see here is a solid dielectric insulated solution. This is our Trident switchgear. There is a time limit. It's not like it can permanently just sit there. And I think it's up to 6 meters of submersibility in that vault. But we have a number of customers where we have tested this. And I mean, California is a big area where they have a fully underground. They don't really appreciate the eyesores of some of the big green boxes either, and even globally. So we've actually taken this fish tank, this exact demo, over to Bangkok, taken it to Spain, and just to see the looks on people's faces, why would that be in water? Yeah. And it really introduces that opportunity to have a conversation with, well, are you in a coastal area? Are you in a place where you might have flooding? Do you have tsunamis? And you might have RMUs installed that literally they don't operate if they are submersed. And so it's a great way for us to expand our reach with this particular solution.
There's more undergrounding going on right now in areas that never used, like you think, well, California, they're undergrounding because of the fires, right? Florida and Texas and all those undergrounding because of storms, hurricanes. But so is Duke Power undergrounding. So are people up in Dominion undergrounding. You say, well, why are they undergrounding? They don't. Well, guess what? Storms are getting so bad in middle part of the country. Now you have tornadoes that are just increasing in intensity. So there's undergrounding going on all over the place, and it's the common problem. How do I get the power back on as quickly as I can? And you're not going to run power through water when it was designed to not be in the water, right? This is a great solution. But here's what I like about it. Viper is almost like the brand. It's the name. I have a Viper. It's not a Viper recloser, right? Now I've got what is this called? Trident. I love that name, the Trident. That's going to be the next buzzword in there. Now, all of this is incredible. I really appreciate a company, and I appreciate the companies in this industry that are thinking ahead of the game, working with customers, creating solutions, working with other suppliers to say, hey, look, we don't make that, but they need this, and I need what you do. And I appreciate so much the word collaboration and solving problems for the industry, because we're moving so fast. There's a thing, the future's so bright, we got to wear shades. And that's all right. We also need to take them off and solve problems anyway. Yes. So I really want to get into the secret room. Okay, I really just, get me to the door. Let me look in. I won't take the camera in. Is that fair? Tell me what it's about.
All right, so
let's go there.
Go over to the door.
Okay, we're going to shoot over here. So this is the secret room. I want to get in the secret room, but it's not a room. It's a philosophy. Tell me about the philosophy, what goes on in here.
So we've emphasized throughout this entire discussion around the collaboration with our customers and being able to, or being eager to listen to our customers and learn from them. So when we talk about how we have to move fast, we have to, and everybody's in this situation together, right? It's not just one utility, it's all utilities. Right. It's all manufacturers and suppliers and vendors. We're all in it together, so we need to work together. And we need to be able to have good dialogue where we're listening back and forth and trying to figure out what the right solutions are that we can scale and share with others so that we can all support what needs to be done from energy.
I love that. You got to share with others. It's not one solution and not hide it, because utilities are now saying, hey, if other people have the same problem,
Exactly.
hey, we've helped develop a solution and nobody's trying to proprietize it, you know? That's excellent.
Yes.
And so some of that goes on in here.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, or actually it was last DTech, we created this space in here. This is an invite only, Alan.
So can I get invited? I won't take the camera and I just want to stick my head in, but
So
I like that.
invite only, and it literally for the last two days, it was from the moment the doors opened to the moment the door shut. This room was with customers, and this is a place for us to dialogue with them and hear about those challenges that they're having, throw out ideas, concepts. What do you need? What are you experiencing? And then if something seems to be a good fit, something that's worth a test, something that's worth more investment and production, we're generating those ideas and decisions from our experience with our customers in this private room.
And then you might see it at the next DTech.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, all right. That's Ron, I think I got to appeal to you, right? Don't you think I should be allowed in there and just see what's going on?
Well, let me tell you, one of the things that's so critical is innovation. So we're constantly looking on the forefront of what are the innovative capabilities we can take, new technologies coming about. So we have some of the really cool things, even some pieces and parts in here to display some innovation so we could get the customer really engaged. And these are ideas that the customers gave us, but now we're taking those ideas and we're actually creating something real and tangible that they can feel and see, and that spurs the encouragement of the conversations take a whole new level. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. It is such an exciting space.
Since we can't do that, we do have to keep some of this under wraps, but it is some fun.
So let me say this. I'm going to go in there. You're not going to get to see what's in there unless you come to DistribuTech next year or wherever you get with G&W. And this is a philosophy. It's not just the room. But I'm going to get to go in. You're not going to get to go in unless you talk to these folks. Thank you so much, Ron. It's been a pleasure.
Well, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you.